What's up guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Malika and this channel is all about traveling more and expat life. I have actually been so lucky to have the privilege of living in 2 different countries. First Milan, Italy, and then now I currently live in Beirut, Lebanon. I have learned a ton in my experiences as an expat and I love sharing them with you guys. I watched a video recently on TFD, shout out to Chelsea, absolutely love her, and was about how her experience living in France changed some of her daily habits, and it really got me thinking. I realized that after counting up the time I've spent living in Italy and living in Lebanon, I have spent 5 years of my young adult life out of the USA, and both stretches have been in the formative years of my mid-20s and then also now my mid-30s. The time I spent in foreign countries was punctuated by graduate school, my first job heading a major project and really being in charge of something, learning new languages, having a destination wedding, building a global life with my husband, and then hopefully the next adventure will be hopefully soon starting a family. It has definitely been quite a ride, so here are 6 things I have learned and permanently changed after my years living abroad. Number 1, I take a lunch break. I'm from New York City, so the earlier years of my career were spent ordering lunch, doing a mad grab to and from reception, then eating with one hand while continuing to type with the other. But after I moved to Italy, it was a whole new ballgame. My entire team and I would walk out for lunch, grab an outdoor table, and sit down for a multiple course meal, sometimes with wine. Okay, sometimes with wine in the middle of the day, and every day we were gone for at least an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. And guess what? Projects still got done, deadlines still got met, the entire company didn't fall apart because the team decided not to scarf a sad salad at their desk. And while it may be hard to push back on the kind of American corporate culture that normalizes these intense work hours with little to no breaks during the day, just try sometimes to start experimenting a little bit. Assuming you're back in the office every day, start slowly breaking your sad desk habit at least twice a week. You will come back feeling recharged, relaxed, and ready to be more productive for the rest of the day. Number 2, I take all of my vacation days. I say this all the time, but one of the best things about living abroad is the ease of travel. Whether it's by plane, train, or road trip, everything is so much closer and more accessible once you leave the USA. Long weekend escapes are common, but so are the 3-week-long epic summer vacations where the office essentially closes and everyone just goes to the beach. Yes, it is true, the entire office will close. But unfortunately, the average American only has 10 days vacation, and some companies still have draconian policies about how you can accrue your vacation days and how many can be used in one stretch. But I do make it a point to use every single vacation day available. The only legitimate reason, in my opinion, to keep some vacation days left in a calendar year is if the company will let you roll them over into the next year and you want to save them for a longer trip. And on another note, if you have sick days that you never use, go ahead and give yourself a break. Sick days exist for a reason, and if you're feeling under the weather, it is well within your right to use them. Too many of us feel the need to haul ass to the office while sneezing and coughing our lungs out, or even just to relax and be on the mend. Don't be a hero, give yourself a break and call out. Even if you just rest on your couch all day, or take a much needed mental health day out of the office. Number 3, I am more careful about my spending. Some of the habits I've picked up in Lebanon in particular will always stay with me, and one of them is carefully monitoring my spending. Lebanon is a cash economy because of everything happening with the economy, and local currency and credit card use here is non-existent. Everyone goes out at all times with a fat stack of cash. I mean a fat stack of cash. And because of that, I am so much more cognizant of my spending. So if I'm out at dinner, I need to choose my entree very carefully and do a mental calculation of the cash in my wallet versus the cost of a second drink or dessert, because I have to physically have the cash to cover my meal and anything else I want to do before or after that meal. And while it might be an inconvenience to have to plan so carefully, not because you can't afford it, but simply because swiping a card is not an option, it does help keep my spending curbed, and racking up credit card debt is simply not an option here. And yes, yes, there have been many times where I had to change social plans because I didn't get to take money out before it was too late, or my stack of cash was running low, and then it's ended up staying home. There is also very little spontaneity. Walk by a store and want to buy a cute dress? Too bad. Overspend earlier in the day and found out all your friends are heading to your favorite bar later? Not you. But I do love that most stores are very flexible with holding items, so at least if you're trying to shop, because they know everyone in the country is in the same boat, so you can very easily put things on hold and come back and get them a few days later. Number 4, I socialize in ways that don't just revolve around eating or drinking. In the US, most of my social plans revolved around brunches, dinners, and bar hopping. But since I've been an expat, I spend more of my weekends doing cultural or physical activities. When you first move abroad, it can definitely feel like an extended vacation, and all the things you might pack into a few-day trip, you tend to spread out over time. You definitely want to get to them, but you know that you have the time, so you don't rush. That means that a lot of my socializing has started to revolve around sightseeing, museums, touristic or cultural activities, and day trips, even things like hiking or taking a long, random, aimless walk around a city. Number 5, I have a more relaxed approach to beauty. Back at home, I had my regular favorite salon, and I stuck to my regimen in my favorite places like clockwork. But living abroad and bouncing between countries forces you to take your chances at new places or figure out ways to do it yourself. I have experimented with cuts and color in Lebanon, getting sew-in weaves in Paris, and I've learned how to perfect a lot of my hairstyling and updos for formal events that pop up here and there. Bouncing around countries means a willingness to relax whatever standards of beauty you may have held yourself to, especially when it comes to blending in. Now, women in Lebanon definitely get glam, like beyond glam. Like to Lebanese standards, I'm a hot mess right now. But I do have plenty of opportunities to get dressed up to the nines and done up, and I love it. But some of my other expat friends live in places where it's not culturally acceptable to go out in a full face of makeup with the lashes and perfectly coiffed hair just for a grocery run. Take your approach from the locals in the country you are living in, and don't overthink not having access to your favorite salons or treatments at home. Trust me, you will figure it out. Number 6, I am always prepared to leave. And last but not least, on a sad note, living as an expat is an amazing experience, but it's one that is not without its fair share of instability. So considering that, one thing that expat life has permanently changed for me is the fact that I am always ready to leave. The last few years have literally turned the world upside down and inside out, with increased political, economic, and environmental instability. So I am always ready to dip at a moment's notice. This means always having the funds available to book a last-minute plane ticket and a plan for where I would go in an emergency. For example, if shit ever really hit the fan in Beirut, I know that while there are very few daily flights to the US, there are about anywhere from 6 to 10 daily flights to cities like Istanbul, Paris, Doha, and Frankfurt. So even if I can't get home, I can definitely get somewhere else quickly and figure it out from there. I'm also a huge fan of the go bag, an emergency grab it and run backpack, but I also always keep a carry-on suitcase halfway packed with some basics so I could actually properly pack it in just a few minutes. Give some thought to how you have prepared yourself for an emergency, an evacuation, or a natural disaster. It's the very unsexy part of traveling and living abroad, but it is potentially the kind of planning that could save your life and your family's life. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it and subscribing to this channel. You guys don't know how much it helps me. And if you want to learn more about life in Italy and life in Lebanon, check out some of my other videos and my playlists. And if you have more questions about life in either country or moving abroad in general, let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for new ideas for videos. Thank you so much, and I will catch you in the next one.